Appreciate that.
Anytime.
Yeah. Well, good morning. Karen and I are really very happy to be with you. I bring you greetings from our 89 congregations in this diocese. And for those of you who are not aware, they're scattered throughout Montgomery and Prince George's County and St. Mary's and Charles counties, and also the District of Columbia. And also joyfully bring you greetings from our 7 Spanish-speaking congregations, our communities of worship that are nestled with our English-speaking congregations. At least they have their homes there now. And as I said at convention, the largest of these congregations in Hyattsville averages over 300 in attendance at their major service on Sunday, which is significant in terms of growth. And I was out of the diocese for about 4 days, and Karen had provided me with an article in the Washington Post about the shifting demographics just in the counties of Montgomery and Prince George's. And the church is going to have to pay attention to those shifting demographics and have the courage to embrace them. Also bring you greetings from a unique church in this diocese, All Saints Ebo Anglican Church. It is a completely committed Nigerian congregation that really loves Episcopalians. For those of you who follow international politics in the church, one would think the Nigerians don't love us. Well, this congregation is quite large. They average over 250 a Sunday. And they really are very much involved in the life of our diocese. We also have a Sierra Leonean worshiping community that was formed about a year and a half ago. And when they gather together, there are over 150 of them who meet in a place and worship God in their native language of Creole, not Creole. And their language is a mixture of African language, native to their home, and also language that their ancestors learned as slaves here in this country. And they took that English as it was back to their country when they were able to return. We also are delighted with the formation of a new Korean congregation that will take place in Rockville. The Anglican Church in Korea is very strong, and there is a huge population of Korean Anglicans here. And so we are embracing that community through the graces of the Bishop of Seoul and one of his clergy to work here in this diocese under the direction of the Diocese of Washington. And then I bring you greetings from our 22 Episcopal schools, and I'm not sure how many of you read the Washington Post yesterday and saw the article, the op-ed that was written by Colby King about the Bishop Walker School. If you haven't read that, I would suggest that you read that article. Colby's a good friend and is a worshiper at St. Mary's Foggy Bottom. But it has to do with the Walker School, of which you have been very much a part of its life and its movement forward. Wanted to thank your rector publicly. Oftentimes rectors get thanked for having great coffee hours or making sure that the walkways are shoveled and the driveways are plowed. That's very important, but your rector's leadership in AIM Action in Montgomery has always been consistent. And his years, and very important by the way, in his years of serving the diocese as head of Constitution and Canons, which is a thankless job over the years, is deeply appreciated by Canon Cooney and me and all who have been blessed by that work. And also for his commitment to address what I call, and he would call, I guess, usury interest rates that are charged by credit card companies and also instant cash lenders, money lenders. And to that end, because of the leadership of your rector, I have been now given the opportunity to meet with the president of PNC to discuss these issues from their perspective and from a theological perspective. Also, going back to the Walker School, this church has been very generous to the formation and life of this school. And on behalf of James Woody, Preston Hannibal, our teachers, and all of the boys, I want to thank you for that generosity. You also have been very active in terms of making visits and celebrating life with these young boys, providing them with lessons, music lessons, piano lessons, and being part of their life during the holiday season, which for many of these boys is not a joyous time. Your support of St. Philip's Child Development Center in Anacostia is also very important to this diocese and to you. Well, I want to thank you for that in terms of talking to members of their board. One of the gifts that's come to me anyway, and I hope to this diocese, is the formation of the South African Partnership Committee. We are in the second phase of that relationship, and this parish has been wonderfully supportive of the work of the church, so to speak, at the College of the Transfiguration in Grahamstown, and for also providing out from this congregation professors who have been very generous in sharing their time as what we might call adjunct faculty. You are an active, gifted, and a mission-centered church, so on behalf of all of the churches in the diocese that I serve, and on behalf of our staff at Church House, I want to thank you for your leadership, for the vestry's leadership, and for all who make it possible. Now, I want to switch and ask you, how many choices did you make this morning before you came to church? If you could just think about that for a few seconds, just kind of run that through your mind like a computer. How many choices did you make that brought you here today? I think the first one was waking up and saying, am I going to go to church? That's an important choice. Obviously, you made that choice. Then there's the choice of what am I going to have for breakfast? What am I going to wear? Will I stay for the coffee hour or leave because I have made a choice to engage in another commitment somewhere else? How much am I going to put in the collection plate? Will I sign up and offer my time and my energy and skill to committees and the work of this parish and the life of the communities that it serves? Will I take the time today to visit somebody that I know who may be shut in or sick? If I have young children at home, am I going to be committed in making choices to send them off on their ways based on their schedules in sports or music or their social connections with friends that take them elsewhere from the home? There's a lot of choices that everybody has already made to get here this morning. It's a fascinating process when you think of the choices that you make. And it's also amazing when you recognize the limited amount of time in which you have to make those choices. I was reading a book not too long ago by a professor from Harvard, and was saying, you know, in a 24-hour day, 7 days in a week, there are 168 hours. 168 hours. And that 168 hours is given in totality to our home and our business lives, and also to our children if we have them, our families, sports, music, school activities. So the professor was saying that when all is done in the schedule that you have, less than 14 hours is left out of a 7-day week in which to do things like going grocery shopping, or going to the mall to shop, reading the paper or a magazine, spending time on a computer, paying your bills, surfing the net, emailing, twittering, updating your Facebook page, or responding to somebody who is there, playing with your iPhone, or spending a lot of time on your BlackBerry, playing video games, watching television, reading a book. So the question is, what do we do, or what do you do with the 14 hours that you eventually have been given because of what you do and the busyness of your life? And it'd be interesting to sit down with a piece of paper, take those 14 hours and break them out over a 7-day period of time. When all is said and done, very little time is left for anything, let alone the decision to go to church or engage in outreach and mission for the church community that you are a part of, or for serving on other boards, or community endeavors. Always asked, why is attendance dropping in every mainline Christian denomination in the United States, including the Roman Catholic Church? Why is that so? And there are a lot of reasons for it, but one of the reasons, I think, comes from a book that was written some 10 or 12 years ago, maybe a little longer than that, entitled Bowling Alone. It had to do with the fact, again, that you have very, very limited free time resources, and so therefore there are very few people who have the time to give to anything other than surviving and doing their jobs or being parents. There are too many factors that consume our time. And one of the demons in all of that is technology. Technology has made it possible for us to do a lot more than we did even 3 years ago, and the promise is that technology will increasingly take more of your time to do more of the work that you are either paid for or that you do in the community. Some of the big choices that you probably have made, obviously you did make, is what you might have wanted to do as an occupation and what college or university you were going to attend to be trained for that. Who out of the myriad of people that you may have dated over your journey on this blessed earth did you finally decide to marry? That's a big decision. If you're blessed to have children, how many did you want? Or if you chose not to have children, then that's a decision that you made. What kind of a house will I buy? What neighborhood will I live in? What kind of a car am I going to buy? What church will I attend or not attend? And then why did you make that choice? Why have you chosen to attend St. Dunstan's? What is it that prompted you to make that choice? And a really big choice that's placed before us this morning in the lessons from Deuteronomy and Moses and also Matthew and Jesus is, what priority do you give or don't give or place in your life in choosing God to be where God ought to be, at the center of it? Or have we been so consumed by the world about us with things that consume our time and our treasure and our energy and our creative thinking that there's little space for anything else? Especially there's very little time for God, especially in those 14 hours. And big choices have big consequences. They always have and they always will. I had a choice, as you think about yours, I had a choice to go to the New England Conservatory of Music or go to college and play football. The issue was, who's going to give me more money? Football. Big choice. Went to college, liked it, rarely went to class because I had to train all the time. Big choice, though. Do I go on the road and leave college and tour as a rock and roller for 3 years, or try and figure out a way to attend more class and to balance my athletics with my academics? Big choice. Go on the road for 3 years. I spent 3 months on a sabbatical at Hammett Medical Center in Erie, Pennsylvania, some years ago, and I was a chaplain to physicians and the nursing staff in a 50-bed oncology nephrology unit. That's a tough unit, because a lot of folks who are there know they aren't going to make it. So although a lot of time was spent working on a new program for physicians and nurses, I spent a lot of time with patients who were terminally ill and had that time